Zambia there. So I've seen some arrivals outside the parliament there, and anytime from now we expect the Republican president to arrive at parliament grounds. Some service chiefs are taking position now, and we can see the army commander there, followed by the ZNS, that's General Engineer M. Solochi, Commander Zambia National Service. We also have Lieutenant General G.C. Ziele, Commander Zambia Army, and we expect also Mr. F.S.S. Chulukutu, Commissioner General, Zambia Correctional Service, and Mr. G.C. Musamba, who happens to be the Inspector General of Zambia Police. So that shows that anytime from now, the President will be arriving at Parliament grounds, and those service chiefs are just taking position in readiness to receive the Republican President.
And just to mention here that once the President arrives Parliament building, and of course is received by Madam Speaker, Ms. Nelly Moti, we expect the President indeed to sign the visitors book. So, and that is in the Speaker's chamber. So usually that's what happens when an important guest comes to Parliament. In this case, our guest number one today is His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia. We expect that he will be received by, of course, the service chiefs and the Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia. Later on, we do expect that at least the visitor's book will be signed. That's in the Speaker's chamber.
Now, civil society organizations play a key role in promoting transparency, accountability, social justice, and human rights, fostering a value-driven society. Our colleague Taza Piri caught up with Young Men Christian Association Executive Director Mrs. Esther Zulu, who shared how the organization integrates national values and principles into its program. Here is a report from our colleague Taza Piri.
In defining us as a people. Hence, civil society organizations play a critical role in promoting transparency, accountability, social justice, and human rights in fostering a value-driven society. The Young Men's Christian Association, YMCA, is a nationwide faith-based youth movement dedicated to empowering young people to make informed decisions, protect them from exploitation and neglect, and ensure their full participation in society. Mrs. Esther Chongozulu, YMCA Executive Director, shares how the organization integrates these principles and values into its programs and activities.
Briefly talk about national principles and values. So we know that these are fundamental principles and beliefs that obviously guide a country's citizens, and it also goes further down to governance. So as Young Men Christian Association, first and foremost, we're a Christian organization. And believe you me, when you look into the Word of God, so if you go into the Word of God, you understand to say there are no principles or values out there that can be more than the principles that are found in the Word of God. And Zambia, specifically because we're a Christian organization, I believe some of those national values and principles that we talk about, they're actually derived from the Word of God. So as YMCA, we believe it's our role and also our duty as a civil society organization to ensure that we sensitize our young people and also just the general citizenry on issues to do with national principles and values, and just to make sure that they are aware what are these principles and values that should guide our behavior and also that should be portrayed in our leaders.
Through its efforts, the YMCA has seen impactful success stories. Mrs. Zulu shares some success stories and challenges the organization has encountered in its journey to promote these values.
So we've had, from time immemorial, because we've always been dealing with young people, we've had a cadre of young people that we handle. And obviously we try to inculcate these morals and ethical values that guide obviously our nation into them. So some of the success stories is obviously the leaders that we have raised as YMCA that have risen even to positions of governance. Okay, and obviously I'm talking about political leadership. Example of the current leadership is obviously our Attorney General currently, Mr. Kabesha Mdiro, was also a member of the YMCA at some point. He was our vice president actually, and he still is our member. So if you look closely at his life, I'm sure you'll be able to say he's a person that upholds national values and principles. So that is a success story for us. And the other person that I can make mention of is obviously the PS for Information, Mr. Tabukawan, who was also a member of the YMCA at some point. So those for us are stories of success, because we know to say after we talk to young people about national values, we sensitize them, and we also see them actually practicing these things. And also we just see them obviously ascend to various leadership positions of influence in the country. Challenges, yes, of course, because if you look at the principles that we have, or the national values that we have, some of them speak to equity and equality. And obviously, as a civil society organization, sometimes when you try to speak, you may be told to say, can you watch out? Are you getting political or whatnot, you know? So those are some of the challenges, mostly, where you sometimes, people maybe come to you and say, you're not supposed to speak about this because you're a civil society organization. So can you watch your space, or you're not supposed to overstep in this area? But those are minor challenges that I can obviously allude to.
Collaboration with other organizations in promoting national values and principles is key. Mrs. Zulu highlights how YMCA works with other organizations.
We try by all means to speak to other stakeholders that are in the civil society space, and also not just people that are working in the civil society space, but also to other government agencies and departments that we work with. Yeah, because in our line of duty, obviously, there are areas, there are various government departments that we need to engage. Human Rights Commission, Ministry of Youth and Sports, Social Welfare, Gender, all those departments of government that we work with. So we try by all means to engage them, and more especially when we see that there are issues affecting especially young people and also women that we feel must be brought to their attention. We obviously try to engage them at that level. And also, like I said, we engage other civil society organizations and stakeholders so that we share best practice and also experiences and see how best can we navigate around issues to do with national values.
Looking ahead, the YMCA has expectations for the upcoming 2025 presidential address on the progress made in the application of national values and principles.
Our expectations are actually a lot, but I will speak to one, which is obviously an issue to do with equity and equality. When you look in our country right now, there are so many issues that we need to address. One of them is obviously to do with the minority rights and obviously their inclusion, even in terms of governance. And when I talk about minority rights, obviously it's women and obviously people that are disabled. So look at the gender parity right now in Zambia. We are far from actually talking about gender equality and equity. And also issues to do with disability, or is it differently abled people. We've also seen those are big issues that need to be addressed, because even them, they need their voice to be heard.
As we continue to navigate the path towards a more just and transparent society, it is evident that the journey for civil society organizations in promoting national values and principles is ongoing, with the vision of having a value-driven society.
Thank you so much for still being with us on Parliament Television. That's the Young Men Christian Association YMCA Executive Director, Mrs. Esther Zulu, sharing with us what our organization and how our organization is integrating national values and principles into its program. Very insightful interaction that Tazapiri had with the Executive Director from YMCA.
Yes, indeed, and we are waiting for the arrival of the President of the Republic of Zambia, Hakainde Hichilema, who's scheduled to arrive anytime soon. So keep watching Parliament TV. We'll be showing you live those pictures when he makes his arrival. And just to mention that earlier on today, the House commenced its business at 09 hours, and Her Honor the Vice President did indicate that the time the President is expected to address the House, and she did state that it will be at 09:45 hours. And Madam Speaker did also implore the members of Parliament to remain in the chamber, to remain in their seats. But as we can see from the pictures in the House, that members indeed are interacting, sharing notes, and so talking about today's event.
Very important event, and this is according to Article 9 of Article 9(2) of Constitution. Requires the President to report to this August House the progress made in the application of national values and principles. And my colleague did talk about these principles and national values as morality and ethics, patriotism and national unity, democracy and constitutionalism, human dignity, equity, social justice.
And others are equality and non-discrimination, good governance and integrity, and lastly, sustainable development. So we do expect His Excellency the President just to give the progress made in the application of national values and principles. And earlier on we did look at some of the issues that he talked about when he addressed the House last year.
Yes, some of the issues that we did talk about, and some of the stakeholders raised issues to do with early pregnancies and early marriages, issues to do with alcohol abuse as well. We heard from His Royal Highness Chief Chamuka highlighting some of the measures that the Chief is putting in place in his chiefdom. We also heard from various stakeholders across the city of Lusaka, just expressing to us and the viewers out there some of their expectations in today's address.
Okay, and I remember last year in his address to the House and indeed the nation on patriotism, one of the issues that the President did talk about is that there is indeed a need for us as Zambians to be patriotic and to have a deep sense of patriotism in safeguarding public and private property. And that is what we need to do in our country. We have to have a deep sense of patriotism in safeguarding public and private property in our country. We may not directly use it today, but there are future generations coming and they are going to use that. So today, if I protect the property that we have, be sure that my children, our children's children will find that property and they'll still use it. And like a situation in which we would destroy the property we have today, and it's the same government, the same money that we're paying through tax that is going to be used to build or rebuild those properties. So we have to have a deep sense of patriotism, protect public and private property. This is something that he did talk about last year in his address.
Under the same pillar, Muta, patriotism and national unity, the President, I do remember the President emphasizing the point of what government is doing in promoting the production and consumption of local products and services. He did say that it was gratifying to note that the Zambian people are increasingly consuming locally produced products, and the quality has continued to improve. And he further said that the government has witnessed an increase in local products on shelves of various chain stores. Well, if you and I walked in a chain store, Muta, these shops that we have dotted across the country, I'm sure you will see the Zambian flag on most of these products.
Yes.
Talk of peanut butter,
yes.
Talk of some natural juice that are locally produced here and very nutritious. Muta. And these are the things that the President talked about, and in the end there will be job creation. In the end, people have money, people earn a living out of this. And it was in the same vein that the President emphasized and expressed gratitude that the government has witnessed an increase in the consumption of locally produced items.
Yes. And talking of that, time and again the president has encouraged us. I mean, let us all have these little backyard gardens. You plant your vegetables there. You have a fruit tree by in your yard, on your yard. You don't get to buy a mango when you can just pluck a mango from your backyard. You need some vegetables to have that balanced diet. You just go in the garden and pluck your vegetables. So it's always encouraging that when we have this sense of wanting to use our local produce, and everyone has this backyard garden, or everyone can plant at least something, can use something that is produced locally, it's always gratifying.
If you're just joining us, those are live pictures. The House has been suspended as we wait the arrival of the Republican president, and the members of Parliament in the House are just interacting and chatting and also documenting memories by taking some pictures. We've seen some ministers earlier on, just before the arrival of the Right Honourable Madam Speaker. We saw the Vice President taking pictures with female parliamentarians. Very, very interesting to see that members are just embracing each other away from the usual debate and just looking forward to the address by the Republican president.
Yes, indeed. And when you talk about the Vice President and the female members of Parliament, it reminds me of a day that is coming soon, International Women's Day, 8th March. Yes, so that was good. Very,
very interesting, and that's the Right Honourable Madam Speaker there, just interacting with the Zambia Army commander. They are just sharing a few things here and there as the Right Honourable Madam Speaker listens to that's Lieutenant General G.C. Zieri, who is commander at Zambia Army. So that shows that anytime from now we expect the Republican president to arrive, as the Right Honourable Madam Speaker keeps on just exchanging notes with the Lieutenant General G.C. Zieri, who happens to be the Zambia Army commander.
Yes, indeed. So in a short while, we do expect guest number one here at Parliament today, 28th February 2025, to make his arrival. And of course, it's not just any other arrival, but he's just coming here to address the House and indeed the nation on the progress made and the application of national values and principles. Like my colleague stated earlier on, that in the House we saw female members of Parliament just taking photos, as you can see on our screens there. They're just creating these memories. People are coming together, sharing notes, just chatting probably on what is expected on the floor of the House today, and of course maybe thinking back on what was said last year and the progress that has been made. Remember, this is a constitutional provision, and the president has to come to the House every year.
I did listen to various media platforms, Muta, and I was just amazed how people are expressing a lot of expectations, and some people also mixing up this very important day to the official opening of Parliament. And I could hear certain organizations also talking about issues to do with the budget, what they expect the president to talk about. But this is a different event where the president is expected just to come to Parliament and report progress made in the application of national values and principles. These are issues, the 7 pillars that guide the country.
Yes, indeed, and this is of course talking about the 7 pillars, and you did mention, of course, some people are thinking this is official opening of Parliament. Just to say that the official opening of Parliament is just the point where His Excellency the President comes to Parliament to officially open a session. Okay, let me break it down. Open a session of Parliament. So with every National Assembly, between the general election and the next general election, there are 5 years. So every year within those 5 years is called a session. So you can see pictures there on the screen, and there we have the Minister of Finance and National Planning. So that is what it is.
We did see Her Honor, the Republican Vice President, looking immaculate, an African woman with those beads that she has put on the head, and the chitenge material and the way it has just been designed. And those are some of the invited guests. Earlier on, I did see the former Vice President, Dr. Nevas Mumba, also part of the audience. I also saw the Chief Justice, Honorable Mumba Madila, the Chief Justice, also in our midst here within the precinct of Parliament. Okay. So, if you've just tuned into Parliament TV, we'd like to welcome you, and once again, we do appreciate your viewership. And just to mention that you're on time, and as was indicated earlier on this morning, we expect His Excellency the President to address the House and the nation at 09:45 hours. This was an indication that was given by Her Honor the Vice President when the House was sitting before it was suspended. Two former Republican Vice Presidents, Mr. Enoch Kavindele there and Dr. Nevas Mumba, also within midst here at Parliament buildings, just interacting and exchanging the notes, and also just highlighting what the expectations are regarding the President's address and the progress made in the application of national values. If you've just joined us, remember there are 7: morality and ethics, patriotism and national unity, democracy and constitutionalism. We also have human dignity, equity, social justice, and then we also have equality and non-discrimination. The 6th one is good governance and integrity, and sustainable development is the last one. So there, if you look at our screen, it just shows that His Excellency the President should be nearby, and as we saw earlier on, we did see the commander for Zambian Army, Lieutenant General Hiele, and of course we also have among the service chiefs Lieutenant General Engineer M. Solochi, Commander Zambia National Service, and we also have of course Mr. Musamba, who is also there, Inspector General of Police. So we expect His Excellency the President to make his way to Parliament soon, and he will soon be addressing the House and indeed the nation. I've just seen the presidential motorcade arriving at Parliament, should I say a sweeper there, which shows that any time from now the President will be arriving at Parliament buildings, and after the speech is delivered in the House, we expect members of Parliament to debate the address, and we expect the mover to move a motion, and later on business will be suspended to give ample time to members of Parliament to debate, to go and study the address, and on Tuesday we expect members of Parliament to come and debate this very important speech. There you have it. I'm sure you can even see the presidential standard there. That shows that the President has arrived at Parliament building, and anytime from now he will be received by the Right Honourable Madam Speaker, together with the service chiefs, and he will be led to the Speaker's chambers, where he is expected to sign in the visitor's book, and later on have a bit of chat with the Speaker. And it's a very, very important and colourful day. It's a time where it's a period where you see the executive, legislature and the judiciary come together. Yes, indeed. And yes, so when we talk about the National Assembly of Zambia, of course we're talking about the members of Parliament, including the Vice President, the First Deputy Speaker and Madam Speaker. And this time around, when we have the President, this is indeed Parliament. And there we have it on screen. The President, our guest number 1 here at Parliament Building, has landed at Manda Hill here at Parliament Buildings, and we see him and Madam Speaker there on the screen. So I hope that you enjoy watching Parliament TV wherever you are, and I hope that you'll be with us to the time this event, of course, is done. The moment we've all been waiting for has finally arrived, and the President is at Parliament buildings, and he'll be led to the Honourable Madam Speaker's chamber, where he's expected to append his signature, and later on have few interaction with the Right Honourable Madam Speaker, and just greeting a few individuals that are here to witness this very important occasion here at the National Assembly of Zambia. Muta.
All right, so today is the day on the national calendar when the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, is expected to address the nation through the House on the progress made in the application of national values and principles. We're looking at morality and ethics, patriotism, national unity, democracy, and constitutionalism.
Yes, and we also have human dignity, equity, social justice, equality and non-discrimination, good governance and integrity, and the last one is sustainable development. Being led to the Right Honorable's chamber, where the Republican President is expected to append his signature there, and after that he'll be led to the chamber. That's our choir there, the National Assembly Choir Initiative, and an initiative of the Right Honorable, Madam Speaker. I'm sure you can see how they are looking and how they are grooving to the rhythm. I wish you could hear the sound from outside.
I wish I could hear that and of course be part of them, but of course my voice is not the best, but just looking at that, it looks so nice. You can see that they're enjoying what they do. Music really adds spice to life, and I'm sure to this occasion I can just imagine that it's very nice out there. So the President, guest number one, is in Madam Speaker's chamber expecting to sign the book, and soon after that we do expect him to address the nation on indeed the progress made in the application of national values and democracy. Just pictures there showing members of Parliament interacting, catching up. Some of them have been busy out on parliamentary assignments, others have been busy with committees. Of course the House is sitting, so there's so much to do that such that members do not have the chance to really get to talk to each other, see each other, and just share one or two things. But this period that business was suspended is the time that we saw so much interaction amongst members of Parliament.
Yes, and so much memories being created and documented by the pictures that are being taken by various members of Parliament. And we've been talking about the 7 pillars, and one of the pillars that Muta and I have been talking about is to do with human dignity, equity, social justice, equality and non-discrimination. In last year's address, the President did talk about that the government has a responsibility to uphold the dignity of the citizens, as well as the right to social justice and equal treatment, and the development efforts are therefore centered on uplifting the livelihood of all the people of Zambia. In this regard, the President did say that the provision of clean water and quality sanitation, quality education and healthcare, access to electricity, social protection and youth empowerment, as well as provision of maternal health services are key priority areas for the government. And through the flagship intervention under the enhanced constituency development, the President said that the country is seeing some quality and social justice being restored. Many of these children that have an opportunity to learn in a dignified environment, with several classroom blocks being constructed and locally produced desks being procured. And CDF, a lot of members of Parliament, even on the floor of the House, Muta, they've been talking about CDF being a game changer, and some desks are locally procured. You and I have toured constituents offices dotted across the country, and constituencies where we're seeing local manufacturers of these desks, and a number of pupils that were out of school, they are now in school because of the free education that the country or the government has introduced.
Yes, indeed, and I think one of the things that is good about what CDF is doing in many of these constituencies is that it's empowering the locals. The desks in the past probably would be imported from other countries, but this time around we find the locals are the ones making those desks. Locals are the ones making the windows for the many schools that are being constructed. Locals are the ones, that are providing these services that in the past would have been sought from outside. So it looks like in a short while to come, we expect His Excellency the President and Madam Speaker to make entrance into the chamber. And remember, this is so that the President addresses the House on the progress made in the application of national values and principles. Parliament TV, we're a station that is dedicated to bringing Parliament closer to you, and in a short while we should receive the President in the chamber, of course, together with the Speaker, so that that address is made.
Yes, and that's the Sergeant at Arms leading the Republican President to the Speaker's chamber, where the President is expected to sign in the visitor's book, and there you have it. That's him there, just appending his signature. I wonder what is written in that book. I'd love to just...
I'm sure it's something good to be back to Parliament. I mean, this is, a very noble institution, so just being here, I'm sure it feels good to be back here. It's not an everyday instance. It's not every time that he comes here, no, but I'm sure that's the message is going towards that. It's good to be back here.
Muta, that's a very rich book in terms of history.
Yes,
because from the times of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, they've been appending signatures in that book whenever they visited the National Assembly of Zambia. So from the first Republican president until the seventh Republican president, all the signatures are in that book.
Yes, and
so that's how rich that book is.
Yes, and of course, talking about the many delegations that visit Madam Speaker to pay just courtesy calls. So yes, indeed, you are right. That book is very rich, full of signatures. Just shows the many visitors that we have here, how important this institution is. The laws are made here.
Definitely, laws are made here. That's the reason why all eyes and ears are on Parliament media platform. It could be on social media or social media platform, Facebook page, and not forgetting a YouTube page. And those of you that are streaming on our website page, I'd like to say thank you so much. The moment we've all been waiting for has finally arrived, and any moment from now, the President will be heading to the chamber where he's expected to address Parliament on the progress made in the application of national values and principles. And
just to mention that, dear viewers, if you're in a place where the network is not so stable, or you have to leave the comfort of your office or your house, and you're thinking you're going to miss out this very important address, feel free to follow Parliament Radio. Parliament Radio is in Lusaka, 92.5 FM in Kitwe, 94.1 FM in Mansa, 91.5 FM in Solwezi. Parliament broadcasts on 93.3 FM Kapirimposhi, 91.3 FM Kasama, 91.5 FM Livingston, 100.5 FM Pemba, 105.5 FM Mungu. Parliament Radio broadcasts on 98.1 FM Chipata, 95.7 Chinsali, 90.5 Petawuke, 96.1 FM Chembe, 94.7 Porokoso, 91.3 Palavo, 96.5 FM Mapatizia, 93.1 FM and Chadiza, 95.3 FM.
So those are some of the platform where you can get us loud and clear. Let's get to the 7 pillars that the President is expected to address today. And earlier on we did talk about morality and ethics. And whenever you take a drive or just a walk across a compound near you, you see the abuse of alcohol. And in his address last year, the President did talk about the abuse that continues to be a major concern in the country. It is negatively impacting families and national productivity. The abuse of alcohol and substances among the young people has contributed to an increase in juvenile criminal gangs, commonly referred to as junkies. And not too long ago, we heard sad headlines in the news where people have been attacked, phones are being grabbed, people breaking into vehicles for people that have gone to shopping malls. And this is something that is of concern to the Republican president and the government at large, and said that this is worrisome and a security concern, and it must be curbed forthwith. And to stem alcohol and substance abuse, the government sensitized 211 chiefs and 700 religious leaders on the dangers of alcohol and substance abuse. The President said that he desires to strengthen the role of the tradition and religious leaders as change agents in their communities. That's the reason why we had Chief Chamuka just interacting with us, and also just to find out what measures, based on what the President talked about in the previous address, his chiefdom is doing to reverse these negative vices.
Yes, indeed. And when you talk about this term that has come and sounds like it's something that we understand and we use it every day, junkies. I think it's important that we as citizens of this country think beyond what is there. We know that those children come from homes. So in these homes, what is it that we are doing, or what is it that we are not doing, so that this thing really comes to an end? You know, we're driving in Lusaka, or moving around in Lusaka, especially at Lumumba traffic lights, Kafiri Road there. You find that people get attacked. You're walking beautifully so, and then from nowhere you just find, if you had a wig on your head, the wig is gone, someone has grabbed, and when you look, it's just a young boy. So what is it that we are doing at individual level, family level, society level, so that probably we can help curb this thing? Otherwise, as it is not a good thing. And you look at it's the children, it's the young ones who are into these vices.
There you have it. That's the Republican President is done with the signing and just interacting with the Republican President. We'll now cross over to the floor of the House.
Honorable members of Parliament, Mr. President and Madam Speaker. Honorable members, the House would like to welcome to the Assembly the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. Mr. President, we are honored to have you in our midst. May I now invite you, Mr. President, to deliver your address. Mr. President.
Madam Speaker, good morning. I wish to seek your permission that before I proceed, I wish to recognize the presence in this House today of Baroness Patricia Scotland, King's Counsel, but also Secretary General of our Commonwealth. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I know there are many other delegates, but a distinguished visitor like that need to be recognized appropriately. Madam Speaker, I beg to move. As I said, good morning. We are delighted to join you and this august House today to report on progress made in the application of our national values and principles. This is in accordance with Article 9(2) of the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. Before we proceed, Madam Speaker, allow me to take this opportunity to pay tribute to an African icon, Pan-Africanist, freedom fighter, and Namibia's founding president, Dr. Sam Nujoma. Madam Speaker, with your permission, I seek that you join me, the House joins me, in a moment of silence to honor President Nyoma. Thank you. Madam Speaker, we wish to take this opportunity to congratulate the three newly elected members of Parliament, Honorable Nason Musonda for Kawambwa Central. For Kawambwa Central constituency, Honorable Justin Kapema for Pambashe constituency, and Honorable Simon Banda for Petauke Central in the eastern province of our beloved country, Zambia. Madam Speaker, the Constitution under Article 8 outlines the national values and principles as follows: morality and ethics. Number 1, 2, patriotism and national unity. Number 3, democracy and constitutionalism. 4, human dignity, equity, social justice, equality, and non-discrimination. 5, good governance and integrity. And lastly, 6, sustainable development. Madam Speaker, our national values and principles are essential in guiding our behavior as a people in the nation. Very important, Madam Speaker. We like to thank the Zambian people for their resilience in 2024. We all know what afflicted us in 2024, the West drought in living memory. Our values and principles were tested during this period. In the midst of the West drought, as I said, in living memory, therefore, we are looking forward to a better future post-2024. We're in 2025 now. Madam Speaker, we will now proceed to report on the progress made in the application of our national values and principles. Morality and ethics. Madam Speaker, to promote a morally upright and ethical nation, we are addressing social issues in our communities. Among them, alcohol and substance abuse, child marriage, teenage pregnancy, gender-based violence, and cyber crimes, including bullying. To tackle alcohol and substance abuse, especially by our youth, the government, your government, is working with various stakeholders in sensitizing progress we achieved nearly 4 million citizens countrywide in the period past. We thank our traditional leaders, the church, civil society organizations, lending institutions, and media houses for participating in the sensitization programs. Madam Speaker, government provided counseling and rehabilitation services to victims of alcohol and substance abuse. Further, 4,728 individuals involved in the production and trafficking of illicit drugs were arrested in 2024. Quite a big number. We urge our fellow citizens, especially the youth, to desist from alcohol and substance abuse. As government, we will continue working with all stakeholders across the country in building a society free of alcohol and substance abuse. Madam Speaker, we have continued to address child marriage and teenager pregnancy by successfully withdrawing our girls from early marriages as much as possible, an illegal practice we condemn strongly. We keep readmitting our girls into school after giving birth, a very important development, Madam Speaker. Before a girl got pregnant, she was out of school permanently. Not anymore. Once they've raised their children, we bring them back to school. That's very important. The progress recorded is attributable to a continuous sensitization of communities on dangers of child marriage and teenager pregnancy. Additionally, change of the law where necessary on the age of marriage and bursaries under the Enhanced Constituency Development Fund, Madam Speaker, have all contributed to keeping our girls in school. Madam Speaker, cases of gender-based violence in the country remain high. These are lives affected, dreams shattered, voices silenced. Therefore, government is implementing the national gender policy and strengthening the enforcement of anti-gender-based violence, GBV. To reduce instances of the vice, we have also continued to support victims of GBV through provision of counseling services, legal aid, and indeed providing what we are calling safe spaces in the communities. A multi-sectoral approach to fight GBV is key. We implore family members. Family is the first line of defense in helping our girls to grow up in a good environment. So we implore families, family members, neighbors, church members, workmates, and the community at large to take the fight against GBV seriously. All cases of GBV must be reported to law enforcement agencies so that perpetrators are brought to book, Madam Chair, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, government is concerned with the growing incidence of cyber crimes and bullying, a new form of violence, no question about it, especially against women and girls. Additionally, we are concerned on the escalation and sophistication of scammers using mobile money services. We are therefore reinforcing measures to combat this abuse. More will be done this year and going forward in this area. In consultation with the relevant stakeholders, we are creating a safer online environment by strengthening legislation on cyber security and indeed cyber crimes. We will not relent in our effort to restore sanity in the digital space. It is for our own good. It's for the good of society. It's for the good of morality and ethics. It is for the good of stability of our country. No question about it. Patriotism and national unity. Madam Speaker, patriotism and national unity play a pivotal role in shaping our society and nurturing a strong nation. These are key factors in fostering national development, which help us achieve our collective aspirations as a people. The importance of respect for our national symbols, Madam Speaker, in entrenching patriotism and national unity cannot be overemphasized. We have the national flag, we have the coat of arms, the national anthem, the national motto, and the public seal. These, Madam Speaker, are symbols that represent our country's heritage, endowment, and truly our identity. We urge all our citizens to continue respecting our national symbols without exception. All of us, as they represent our unique identity and solidarity as a people. We must be devoted, loyal, and proud of being Zambian. These characteristics of patriotism must be inculcated in every Zambian at an early age. Again, the family comes in here. Those of us who are fathers and mothers, we have a rare responsibility to raise dignified citizens. It's a duty. Madam Speaker, as patriotic citizens, we all have a duty to take care of our public and private properties. I repeat, we must all take care at an individual level, properties, public or private. Unfortunately, vandalism and theft of public property has continued, making this negative trend a growing menace in our communities. In 2024, a higher number of cases of vandalism were reported. To this effect, government is working on legislation to stiffen punishment for perpetrators of vandalism and theft of public and private property. Property rights must be respected. They are part of who we are. Community without property is worthless. We urge all citizens to be patriotic. Citizens should refrain from and report acts of vandalism and theft of public and private assets, and sabotage to law enforcement agencies. You know what I mean. The House knows what I mean. Sometimes we ignore law enforcement agencies and treat them badly. That is negative behavior as well. To the security wings, we are confident that you will remain vigilant in the fight against vandalism in our country. The growing trend of land encroachment, illegal land occupation, particularly on private property, public property, and the illegal allocation of land is a serious concern, Madam Speaker, that this government is actively addressing and will do so definitively. This unlawful practice is unacceptable, and the government will take necessary steps to put an end to this. No segregation, no special rights to any. We are all supposed to obligate ourselves to the laws, applicable laws. Very important. We urge citizens to apply for land through legal channels to avoid the risk of having illegally acquired land repossessed. We are equally concerned, Madam Speaker, about the increasing number of citizens that are borrowing loans from CDF and CEC with intentions of never to pay back. This is contributing to the stagnated growth of these facilities, whose intended objective is to create revolving funds. And if some borrow and don't pay, you are shrinking this fund, you are denying opportunities to other deserving citizens to access these funds. Not acceptable. Madam Speaker, one of the attributes of patriotism is the willingness to sacrifice for the greater good of our nation. This is what we see in our citizens, a good number of our citizens, who continue to embrace volunteering as an integral part of our culture and tradition. Madam Speaker, this is commendable. The volunteers have been providing critical support to vulnerable groups and are participating in building community infrastructure. This is a clear demonstration of our people's resolve, a good number of them, to uphold the values of patriotism and national unity. We thank the volunteers, in particular, health workers, teachers, ward development committees, those who work in those committees, community welfare assistance committees, neighborhood health committees, religious institutions who are doing a great job, constituents development fund committees, and many other volunteers in the country. Madam Speaker, these are the unsung heroes of our communities and are away from public glare, but yet they continue to shape our nation to greatness. We thank all of them without reservation. We applaud our sportsmen and women for the great sense of duty, patriotism, and pride that they exhibit when representing our country in various sports disciplines. We notice that they have coined Zambia Kuchalo. They've coined this slogan, meaning Zambia to the world. From Zambia to the world. Great indeed. Minister of Sports, well done. Madam Speaker, this is the spirit we should all emulate as we represent our country in many other disciplines, including in this House. We must remember that we owe it to the community, to all our people, to conduct ourselves, to provide services in an exemplary manner at all times, in private or public environments. We should always be upright. Madam Speaker, as patriotic citizens, we must continue to promote the production and consumption of local products and local services. Consumption of local products and local services must become a habit by all of us in the nation. And you know what that means. Promotes growth of the economy, create jobs, and many other things. Your government will continue to favor purchase of Zambian produced goods and services through, and strongly so, positive discrimination in the procurement process. Proudly so. Our government stands unwavering in its commitment to building a thriving national economy, one that does more than just grow numbers, but changes lives, puts food on the table for our families, and secures a brighter future for every household. Not some, but every household. This is not a one-time event. This is not a situation, singular situation. It's a continuous mission. It's a journey that calls upon every citizen to play their part. And they should do so with determination and indeed pride at all times. Attitude matters in life. When your attitude, your mindset is right, you get things done properly. If you are negative, things don't work. Simple. From the farmers tilling our rich soils in Pika, Venapika, to the fishermen casting their nets in Mongo, from the tireless marketeers in Soweto Market, to the innovative entrepreneurs in Chiwempala, from the skilled carpenters and welders of Kalingalinga, to the resilient workers of Katete and Mansa. This is our collective fight, Madam Speaker. Growth of a strong economy is not the responsibility of one individual, nor by government alone, but by the sweat, ambition, and unity of an entire nation, including the private sector, Madam Speaker. We must dream big. I must say so. We must dream big and work even harder. The government will continue to do its part in fostering unity, maintaining peace, security, and stability, tackling legal debt, and creating an environment where businesses can thrive. Madam Speaker, I want to make emphasis here. There's a wrong perception that when we talk of business thriving, we talk about foreign business. We mean individuals who run chicken runs, who run small gardens. These are business people and they are citizens of Zambia. They too are included, Madam Speaker. But this success will not be handed to us, Madam Speaker. It must be earned. We must rise, push forward, and embrace the work that will make Zambia strong, independent, and prosperous. When we achieve this, Madam Speaker, our country will prosper, create opportunities and jobs, and indeed treasury income, and obviously a brighter future that Zambians can be proud of. That's how it works, Madam Speaker. Our destiny, ingenuity, is in our hands. Let's work and more hard and smart work is what we need. Together, we will build a Zambia that our children will be proud of. And as they inherit, they will remember us. They shall remember us that they were people who set the pace for them to achieve what they would be achieving in future. We should all be thinking ahead and be proud in advance of what we are capable of creating for our children and their grandchildren. Madam Speaker, it is pleasing to note that a growing number of companies have registered to use the proudly Zambian campaign logo. We welcome the increasing levels of patriotism among the business community and urge more companies to come on board. We are delighted that our people are appreciating our rich tourism products. Accordingly, we relaunched our local tourism campaign dubbed Take a Holiday, Yamuloko. As of November 2024, Madam Speaker, the number of local tourists that visited our national heritage site, national parks and museums doubled from 184,945 in 2023 to 326,929. This is phenomenal. Congratulations, Tourism Minister. Madam Speaker, an additional demonstration of patriotism is paying off taxes. Paying tax is not just a moral or legal requirement, but an essential element to fund public services such as desks for our school children and medicines for the sick in our hospitals. That's what it means. To enhance tax compliance, government introduced the smart invoicing system late last year. We have also continued to implement various initiatives aimed at simplifying tax processes and making payments more efficient, easier, more efficient. The tax system has been interfaced with the various standalone online platforms on the government service bus. We are also implementing taxpayers' education programs to enhance compliance. We thank tax compliant citizens, and we encourage those that are not yet in that category to join the rest. Indeed, companies, we thank them as well for the important contribution they make, and we urge all of our citizens to always adhere to tax laws and regulations. Minister of Finance and your team, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, national unity is critical to our country's existence, peace and prosperity. It fosters citizen participation in national affairs and provides a sense of belonging in their own country. We have created a conducive environment for our people to freely interact and participate in social and national events regardless of their persuasions, religion, ethnicity, anything else, call it. All of our people now are mingling freely, anywhere, unlike ever before. We have witnessed our traditional leaders attending traditional ceremonies of other traditional leaders across the country. It's a totally new phenomenon. Never happened before. It's happening now. In order to appreciate, I'm talking about magnitude. Before there will be 2 or 3 attending. Now you have 60, 70 attending each other's ceremonies across the country. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all there. It's all there, Madam Speaker. It's not a matter of hearsay. It's there. Last week it was there in Nkwala. We were all there. 70 local chiefs were there, 70 plus. Big number, big number. In order to appreciate different cultures, this is the way the country must be. And we're doing this deliberately, intentionally, so that we can make Zambians understand the value each one of them brings to the table. Very deliberate. This is in the spirit of one Zambia, one nation, and indeed truly one people. Madam Speaker, It is the aspirations of the Zambian people to live as one in peace, harmony, and indeed unity. Unity is essential as an ingredient towards the developmental agenda, Madam Speaker. This administration will continue with our policy of zero tolerance to political violence, to hate speech, Madam Speaker, intolerant to political violence, to hate speech, to negative cadreism. These are vices. These vices have no space in our society. And all of us here and outside of this house today must make it personal that anyone conducting themselves in this way must be taught in their eyes and straight. Anyone. So, our society has no space for such conduct. Not now, not tomorrow, not in future. Democracy and constitutionalism. Madam Speaker, our administration is resolved to enhance and protect human rights. We are promoting and protecting freedoms of speech. Madam Speaker, this person speaking here is a daily victim. But we have no issue. That's the right citizens have. We keep our eyes on the ball. That's our job. Madam Speaker, I want to repeat, we are promoting and protecting freedoms of speech, assembly, media, and universal suffrage. Madam Speaker, citizens, political actors, civil society organizations, and religious organizations, as well as defenders and advocates of human rights, are basically conducting their business all over the country in the manner they wish. As long as they do it within the confines of the law. Freedom of expression, Madam Speaker, is important. Unlike before, I am proudly saying here, no media house has been shut down under this government. Not a single one, Madam Speaker, unless they've just failed to run their business from the commercial side. We should, however, be mindful, Madam Speaker, that where one's freedom ends, another person's freedom starts. Very important. Let us therefore be responsible in exercising our freedoms in order to maintain the peace, harmony, and unity which our beautiful country is renowned for. I must say here, Madam Speaker, the country's reputation continues to improve globally, and we must exploit this as an opportunity and turn it into value, such as increased investment, so we can grow our economy more and more. As part of our transparency in the exercise of these freedoms, the UPND New Dawn administration voluntarily, Madam Speaker, invited the UN rapporteur on freedom of expression and opinion. Madam Speaker, this is a rare phenomenon in the history of our country. Voluntary invitations to be assessed by international standards. We are actually among the few countries in the world that have willingly and opened ourselves to international scrutiny in this area. The rapporteur just concluded her work about 3 weeks ago. It's not long ago. So we are all confident that we will share her results transparently. We would have preferred for this transparent review mechanism to have been carried out during the past administrations as well, so that we could have created a benchmark. How was it then? How is it today? Madam Speaker, the media industry has continued to be an important tool of communication and information sharing. The liberal policies government has put in place have contributed to the expansion of the media industry in our country. We now have over 188 radio stations and 66 television stations across the country, largest number ever. Most of these media houses are privately owned, community owned, most of them. We urge all our radio and television stations and other media platforms across the country to be professional. To be professional, to be channels of the truth. Truth, promoting fairness, unity, and development. It's an obligation of any media house to conduct themselves in this manner. Short of this, damages society. Anything outside of this remit damages society, and that's not in anyone's interest. As part of our efforts to enhance access to information, government has launched the Zanish television channel and the Zamcom radio station. We encourage citizens to take advantage of the tax waiver. Please take advantage of the tax waiver on broadcasting equipment and establish radio and television stations, especially in rural areas. Please, members of parliament who are in the rural constituencies, encourage this to happen so that our communities can access information in real time for development, for decision making, for health reasons, and many, many other positives. So, Madam Speaker, we want to indicate that this sector too is important not just for information dissemination, but also for creating business opportunities and jobs. Very important in the remotest parts of our country. 1, 2, 5 jobs are very important because one of those jobs will look after 10 or so members of our community. So we want to encourage this to happen across the country. No restrictions anymore. Let's move. Madam Speaker, the right to vote is a cornerstone of our democracy. To this effect, government has continued to implementing continuous voter registration. Yes. 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 Yes, 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 yes. We have increased the number. Madam Speaker, we have increased the number of districts conducting continuous voter registration to 30. Numbers don't lie. From 0 to provincial centers, now to 30. They are there. Electoral Commission can provide those numbers, those centers to this House. I think it's important, Madam Speaker, that Electoral Commission does that forthwith. No need to take time. So I was saying the registration centers have increased to 30 across the country. This is ahead of the upcoming mobile registration exercise. We know the limitations of these 30, so the mobile registration exercise is on the way. So, but currently, any member who is closer to these 30 points can register as a voter. Very important, very important. We encourage our youth who have attained the voting age of 18 years to register and exercise their right to vote. After all, they are the true owners of this country by virtue of their young age. They have more years ahead in life. Madam Speaker, since our address to this August House in March last year, a number of by-elections have been held at ward, council, chairperson, mayor, and constituency levels. These elections were generally peaceful. A clear departure. Madam Speaker, these elections were generally peaceful. A clear departure from the violence of the past. As a matter of fact, Madam Speaker, due to the peaceful nature of the elections, Most citizens sometimes are unaware of by-elections taking place. We were encouraged seeing political competitors interacting and sharing political platforms on the ground across the country. This is a clear demonstration of how far Zambia has come. Anyone who would have visited this country 4 years ago and now does not even need to raise a question. We urge all our political actors to be civil in their language. Please be civil in your language. Everything starts from the language, how we speak to each other. Let us be civil in our languages. Let us abide by the electoral code of conduct. We are one people, Madam Speaker. Even when we compete in elections, we remain one people. After elections, we go back to the same homes and share meals together. That's the way it should be. Politics, Madam Speaker, must not divide us. They must not divide us at all. Let us use politics to drive development and build bridges towards each other. To reach out to each other is a human phenomenon. In the animal race, Madam Speaker, the human being has an extra art of excessive communication, interaction, and that distinguishes from other species. So we're a civilized species. To reach out to each other is important. To compete in ideas is important, rather than to promote hate and division. No. Human dignity, equity, social justice, equality, and non-discrimination. Madam Speaker, government remains committed to upholding human rights, of course, dignity, equity, social justice, equality, and non-discrimination. These principles are fundamental in fostering peace, unity, and social-economic development in our beloved country. Through our flagship program, the Enhanced Constituency Development Fund, CDF, now standing at 36.1 million kwacha per constituency, per year. Very important. So we define it correctly. 36.1 million kwacha per constituency per year in all the 156 constituencies. Our people have been offered a new lease of life. Across the country, there is a clear transformation of local communities and improvement in the livelihoods of our people. This was our intention of introducing this tool, this mechanism, without segregation. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Minister of Finance here. When we distribute staggered CDF releases, they are done to all the constituencies on the same day, in equal amounts. This is not normal 4 years ago. We are constructing schools, health facilities, maternity annexes, police stations, rehabilitating feeder roads. We are constructing market shelters, from ramshackles to decent market shelters. Crossing points, water crossing points, canals, deep tanks, water points for human animal consumption. Facilities are many being constructed across the country simultaneously, at the same time. And these are only a few I'm mentioning. Madam Speaker, the first time in the history of our country, we have a constituent police vehicle, constituents. We have a constituent developmental projects monitoring vehicle. Now, we have an ambulance at a constituent level. What does that mean to quality of life? Very clear. Very clear. Very clear. Madam Speaker, this is what we can simply define development at the national level. CDF is touching many lives, transforming our communities, addressing developmental inequalities. CDF is indeed a game changer. We are restoring the integrity, the dignity of our citizens, particularly in rural areas and peri-urban areas. Go to a chief's palace today, you will see that you are arriving at a palace. CDF, big change across the country. In order to improve distribution, Madam Speaker, I need the House's attention here. In order to improve distribution and delivery of resources equitably and fairly to communities across the country, there will be needs to delimitate or subdivide overly large constituencies. Madam Speaker, this is a popular subject. Some constituencies are like small countries. Some constituencies have so many people. CDF distributed equally, but there's a bit of inequity. So we can address this inequity through this proposal. So we want to indicate once more, in order to improve distribution and deliver resources equitably and fairly across the communities, there will be need to delimitate or subdivide overly large constituencies by geography and by population. Madam Speaker, we are aware that some of these MPs, Madam Speaker, we are aware that some of these MPs struggle to reach one corner of their constituency. It's unfair. It's inequitous. That's why we are proposing this. But we know that this will require constitutional amendment. And this House is the one with a legal obligation to achieve that. Madam Speaker, do I hear consensus on this matter? Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank all the members of Parliament for being progressive. Madam Speaker, let us make progress. We urge the civil society, religious bodies, to understand this issue. I know there are mixed feelings, but we urge them to understand this issue. Service delivery to the people must take account of these factors: distance, population. We know that there are some with negative views about this issue. I think we should move together as a nation. Thank you. We urge all our community members, ordinary citizens, Madam Speaker, to demand effective utilization of CDF funds. The population must be demanding, must pay attention to how this money is being utilized for their benefit. MPs, you must reach out to everybody. No segregation. Even those who didn't vote for you, you know there's a ward or polling station that didn't vote for you. Take development there. Take development there. Because that's a right those citizens have to have chosen who they wanted during an election. But once the elections are over, we deliver development to all. That's our obligation. So I'm asking citizens to also be active. It takes two to tango. Citizens might express their needs, and they have the opportunity to do that through the various committees in the constituencies. Madam Speaker, there is no longer any excuse for elected officials like these in this House to neglect their constituencies. There's no justification and there's no excuse, as they are not relying on their meager resources as it was in the past. Now they have this enhanced CDF. Please deliver for the people in your constituency. Madam Speaker, I must say, on a more serious point here, a deliberate failure to utilize CDF funds should be considered as an act of economic sabotage, particularly against the less privileged in our country, who are experiencing positive changes in their communities. If you sit on this money because you know that the Minister of Finance will not claim it back, you are practicing economic sabotage. And mechanisms are being put in place, Madam Speaker, that no MP will have a right to delay development because they feel the government in place is not what they voted for. Once you are voted for, we are one, we work to deliver for the people of Zambia. Finish. Madam Speaker, I am saying we are looking at mechanisms to obligate such members of parliament to deliver services to the people. Otherwise, we will apply sanctions. And there's a way you apply sanctions in a civilized society. Yes. 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 Madam Speaker, to improve the welfare and livelihoods of the less privileged in our communities, government has been implementing a number of social protection programs. These include the Farmer Input Support Program, FISIP, Social Cash Transfer, Ordinary, Social Cash Transfer, Enhanced, Food Security Pack, Public Welfare Assistance, and the most popular, Cash for Work. The programs are being implemented in an equitable and non-discriminatory manner. Countrywide. Again, they are constituents-based. That's the beauty of decentralization. And I think we should cherish it and grow it even more. Together, we are building a more just, a more equitable, and a more prosperous country. Madam Speaker, to ensure that our people live in sanitary environments, government has expanded the water supply networks. We have constructed and rehabilitated water boreholes benefiting over 4 million people across the length and breadth of our country over a 3-year period. In addition, government has extended sanitation facilities, networks, achieving 73.6% urban sanitation coverage. Under CDF, 2,352 water, sanitation and hygiene facilities have so far been constructed in schools, health facilities, markets, bus stations, the notorious bus stations. Once notorious bus stations, I must correct myself, once notorious bus stations, and in communities across the country. We remain resolute, Madam Speaker, in ensuring that every citizen has access to clean and safe drinking water, as well as improved sanitation. Very, very committed to this. Madam Speaker, our free education policy is bearing fruit. Many more of our children, regardless of their background, are accessing education. I'm here, Madam Speaker, to speak numbers. Over 2 million learners have gone back to school in the past 3 years since we brought back free education in our country. This is giving them, the children, and even adults, some, a better chance to succeed in life. Madam Speaker, this policy has motivated some of our citizens, including aged ones. For example, let us welcome our 42-year-old female pupil, Dorothy Kamanisha. Dorothy Kamanisha from Solwezi, who has gone back to school. She has gone back to school at 42 years old. She is in grade 9. Madam Speaker, let me complete this point. She has gone back to school at age 42 to take advantage of the free education policy. She has come with her head teacher, Crispin Mumena, of Rodwell Mwepu Day Secondary School. Where are they? Where are they? There they are. Where is Dorothy? Wave your hand. Where is our Mumena? Viepi Mane? Wasant. You may take your seats. Thank you very much. Madam Speaker, I think it's important that we give Dorothy and the teacher a loud hand of applause to them. Madam Speaker, the message here is that many more of such people like Dorothy are all over the country. And we must be proud of that as a people, without exception. We must be proud of that. Our belief, Madam Speaker, is that no Zambian should be deprived of education. In our view, Madam Speaker, in our view, education is the best investment, inheritance and equalizer across society. Many of us in this house, Madam Speaker, did not get anything other than education. And that's what brought us in this house. I can talk of myself, that is what brought me into this chair. To be the servant of the people. Just education, nothing else. We want to see many more children of our country have this opportunity that we here have had. This is a serious issue. Education is the best investment, inheritance, and equalizer. Further, Madam Speaker, we have also continued to improve the learning environment. It's not enough to introduce free education, but we need and we have been improving the learning environment. We are providing school desks, constructing and upgrading classrooms, recruiting more teachers to improve the teacher-learner ratio. And the grades have shown that. Congratulations, Minister of Education. The grades have shown an improvement in the last year because of these changes. Some thought that free education would degrade our quality of education. Numbers don't lie. More kids have done well in school in the last year. Test of the pudding is in the eating. There you are. Further, in 2024, the total number of vulnerable learners benefiting from the homegrown, I beg your pardon. Further, in 2024, the total number of vulnerable learners benefiting from the homegrown school meals program, school feeding program, has more than doubled from 2.2 million to 4.7 million learners are now on the school feeding program, Madam Speaker. No wonder the results have improved. Additionally, the district coverage increased from 82 districts in 2023 to 106 districts in 2024. This is truly commendable. Madam Speaker, to ensure equity in the provision of health services, government has continued to recruit health workers. In 2024 alone, a total of 4,216 additional health workers were recruited. As you know, Madam Speaker, we've been recruiting year in, year out. This is just for 2024. This is commendable, really. Improving health service delivery to all our people. Further, We are bringing health services closer to our people through construction of health facilities under the CDF. For instance, 142 maternity annexes. Madam Speaker, you will remember that in this House I came to announce a few years back that every health facility must have a maternity annex with running water so we can protect the mother and child, saving their lives. This is happening, Madam Speaker. And I'm here to say, for instance, 142 maternity annexes, 269 health posts, 157 houses for staff, medical staff, have so far been constructed. Madam Speaker, this your government is walking the talk. While essential drugs have been available in primary health care institutions, the flow of specialized drugs, Madam Speaker, requires improvement, we want to admit. We are happy to report that contracts have been signed for the Cancer Disease Hospital to avail new radiology equipment for radiotherapy treatment in our country. I want to say, Madam Speaker, here that the cancer is becoming a serious problem in our country. And we must work together, this House must work together to allocate more resources towards cancer treatment. And I will not let the cat off the bag, Madam Speaker. I may have good news in a month or so to announce to the nation in this area. I will do it at the appropriate time. Thank you. Madam Speaker, the UPND administration is promoting a decent work agenda in the country. In this regard, we revise upwards the minimum wage and conditions of employment for domestic, shop and general workers, as well as bus and truck drivers. Thank you, Minister of Labour. Madam Speaker, access to justice is a basic principle of the rule of law. To enhance access to legal representation by our people, for our people, the Legal Aid Board opened district offices in Kaoma, in Porokoso, in Lundazi, in Zambezi, and Kawamba in 2024. So our people can access legal services closer to where they are. This is a continuing process, Madam Speaker. The number of citizens who received legal assistance countrywide increased from 31,556 in 2023 to 45,305 in 2024. To enhance access to quick and fair justice, Madam Speaker, we have recruited additional magistrates and judges and introduced further mobile courts in rural areas. We have established specialized fast-track courts, strengthened juvenile courts, and rolled out the digital case management system. As you know, Madam Speaker, case record management has been poor in this country for many years. And sometimes justice is delayed because the file is missing. We don't want that. No one wants that. Anyone who has experienced delays, adjournments in court understands what I'm talking about. I'm one of those. Madam Speaker, overcrowding in correctional facilities is progressively being addressed. We completed the construction of 2 modern correctional facilities in Muchinga and Central Provinces, creating an additional 1,000 bed spaces. This is not enough, Madam Speaker. More needs to be done. We totally agree. And we have to work towards increasing improved facilities in this area. We have converted one of, Madam Speaker, I need utmost attention here. We have converted one of the corruption-related repossessed properties into a correctional facility. And we are calling it the Diana Nalupia Center for Circumstantial Children, to house, Madam Speaker, female inmates with their children, and to ensure that, so we can ensure that these children live in conducive environments while their mothers are serving sentences. We were detaining children who never committed crimes simply because their mothers are in detention or serving sentences. it is not correct. I saw it for myself, and we made a decision that we would take these women out of the ordinary correctional centers and put them in decent homes, yet they are in custody. It is now been implemented, Madam Speaker. I'm here to report that. So we can raise our children properly in these environments. Any parent should appreciate this situation. Good governance and integrity, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in today's fast-paced world, citizens are increasingly expecting immediate access to services. Our citizens are also expecting transparency and direct engagement with their governments. Our citizens are seeking more accessible, efficient, and responsible channels to voice their concerns and provide feedback to government. In this regard, Madam Speaker, government has launched the Citizen Support Services Portal. The portal is fostering real-time engagement between citizens and their government. Further, we have increased the number of electronic services available on the government service bus from 300 in 2023 to 321 in 2024. We need to do more, Madam Speaker, in this area. We are increasing access to and improving efficiency in the delivery of public services. Madam Speaker, we remain resolved to decentralizing public service delivery to the last mile. We are therefore happy to report that 5 additional functions have now been devolved to local authorities. These are, so we are specific, district agriculture services, district livestock services, district fisheries services, district community development services, and district social welfare services to the country. Again, Madam Speaker, MPs, please pay attention to these services because you are the face of our communities in these areas. And as we take you back to the council, as we take you back to the council, as you take yourselves back to the council, because you will be the deciders, please pay attention to these services. This has been devolved to you now, and help in ensuring that services are being delivered to our people. Madam Speaker, this brings the number of functions devolved from central government to local authorities so far to 13. Therefore, it is true to say we are empowering communities. We're taking decision-making to our people in the provinces, in the districts, in the constituencies across the country. Madam Speaker, in our quest to uphold our national values and principles, we are governing the country on the basis of the rule of law. We will ensure that our governance and oversight institutions continue to operate independently and autonomously. Madam Speaker, the fight against corruption is yielding results. I sat here a year or so and there were doubts, but I'm here to say the fight against corruption is yielding results. We are now witnessing acquittals and convictions, and those found guilty are serving sentences. Unfortunately, this is the rule of law. Unfortunately. As a measure, as an additional measure, Madam Speaker, I am aware of the debate that was raging in the country about what I'm about to say. But as an additional measure, side by side with prosecution, we are also recovering tainted assets and restoring them back to the rightful owners, the Zambian people. Earlier, Madam Speaker, I gave you an example of a property which is now housing inmates, female inmates with children. This is what we are doing. This is a benefit of what we are doing to society. The government, Madam Speaker, is fully committed. In addition to prosecution, asset recovery, we are committed to fully implementing alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. In short, ADR. These mechanisms will assist us to be more efficient, more effective, as also expediting the resolution of crimes and corruption-related cases. I want to urge the people of Zambia to take advantage of the alternative dispute resolution mechanism in solving problems. I know many countries around the world that are using ADR effectively. We are learning. We would like to apply this as well so that we can resolve issues faster and sometimes in a more holistic way because we have engaged each other. The ones who have committed the crime and the victims of crime. Put together, I think reconciliation may happen in society. So I'm asking citizens to take advantage of this opportunity. Madam Speaker, by integrating ADR methods such as mediation, negotiation, the government aims to enhance judicial efficiency, reduce case loads, backlogs, and ensure swift justice while upholding principles of accountability and transparency. Very important. This approach aligns with international best practices in combating corruption and reinforces the government's dedication to strengthening the rule of law and promoting good governance in our country. The fight against corruption continues in a non-selective manner. We will fight past, present, and future corruption. We are encouraged by the recent Transparency International Corruption Perception Index score, which has improved first time since 2013. Since 2013, the country has been declining in the assessment. Now we are on the up. We have improved from 37 in 2023 to 39. Remember, I've said since 2013, downhill. Since 2021, 2022, uphill. And we continue to gain. Improved from 37 in 2023 to 39 in 2024. Further, Zambia improved on the global ranking from 98 in 2023 to 92 out of 180 countries in 2024. Madam Speaker, I'm the first one to say that we can do more, and we should do more. Sustainable development. Madam Speaker, in our pursuit of economic prosperity, sustainable development, it is imperative that we work as a team. We work as a country. We work together, I repeat. This is even more critical in the work of the devastating impact of climate change. Climate change has threatened our national food security, energy, and water securities as well as our biodiversity. Indeed, climate change has disrupted our development efforts and has highly contributed to the increased cost of living. Notwithstanding the disruption, we are seizing the opportunity, Madam Speaker, presented by the climate change to adopt alternative solutions to improve our resiliency as a country. Every coin has two sides, Madam Speaker. We like to see it that way. Problems or challenges on one side, opportunities on the other. And we need to maximize on the opportunities to ameliorate the negatives. Following the West drought, as I said earlier in living memory, we experienced last season the improved rainfall in the past 3 months, Madam Speaker, will positively impact the cost of living as we produce more food than before, than last year at least. We salute our gallant farmers who have answered the call to grow more food despite uncertain times. Despite the discouragement of the drought, we called on farmers to plant, they planted. So far the crop is looking very good across the country. Even in the constituents of my friend I'm looking over there, he's even grown maize now. Kanchivia. 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 We are harvesting water, Madam Speaker. Endita Mkwai. Madam Speaker, I'm just agreeing. Endita Mkwai. Yes. We are harvesting water, Madam Speaker, by constructing and rehabilitating dams across the country, especially in the drier provinces of our country. And the country This will enable the country to basically generate water through this water harvest to allow our people to engage in all year-round agriculture activities through irrigation. Madam Speaker, I will remember that on this table, I said I will no longer go to planting seasons across the country, because every month is a planting season, every month is a harvest season. And this is what will allow us to achieve that. We are on the road towards that. Food self-sufficiency, surplus. So we can take care of those that may not be able to be privileged like us in terms of water and good soils. Madam Speaker, this is in line with the rainwater harvesting strategy which we launched last year. Madam Speaker, to mitigate the effects of climate change and deforestation, government has created an enabling environment for investment in alternative sources of energy. We introduced tax incentives, Madam Speaker, to encourage our citizens to develop, to invest in alternative energy equipment such as solar technology. And we are on the road, very, very positive road in this direction. We'll be able to report to the House, Madam Speaker, next year we have good news that is coming. We see where we are going. We decided to go that way. The results are showing. Government, through the Rural Electrification Authority, REA, has bridged the electricity gap between rural and urban areas by spearheading programs aimed at electrifying rural communities in an equitable and indeed sustainable manner. Madam Speaker, for example, we commissioned the Mpidi solar mini grid. Honorable Kambita, Mpidi solar mini grid in Zambezi Dris. The 640 kilowatt Kasanjuku mini hydro power station in Mwinlunga. Such projects are providing electricity, Madam Speaker, to households, schools, chiefs' palaces, health facilities, agriculture centers, and local courts in communities that have never had any access to electricity since independence. This is happening, Madam Speaker, and it's a humbling experience when you speak to beneficiaries of these facilities. Hear what they say. One medical staff, I visited, commissioned such a station, a couple of kilowatts, Madam Speaker. She explained how at the point of delivering women who are pregnant, she used to use a light from her phone, to help the mother deliver. Now, she's doing it in broad light. It is humbling. And I want to encourage members of Parliament, please invest more in solar energy in your communities as part of the CDF usage of the resources. You will be amazed the satisfaction, the improvement in the quality of life, water, sanitation, and indeed productivity in the local areas through irrigation. That's my encouragement. Madam Speaker, fuel is a critical driver of economic activity. In recognition of its strategic importance, the government remains committed to securing competitive price fuel from the global markets to lower costs and support sustainable economic growth and stability. Madam Speaker, illegal mining is a menace that we are determined to stamp out, as it damages our environment, puts lives of our young people at risk. Illegal mining. Unsafe mining methods. We have lost a few people over years, and we should not allow this to continue. Therefore, we will clamp down on illegal mining, irrespective of location. This country does not want to hear someone saying, this is my mineral, I mine it the way I want. These are natural resources of the country. Simple and straight. And the law must apply. And when people refuse to respect the law, they will be forced to obligate themselves to the law. For good reasons, as I have said. We need the mining resources to help fuel growth in our economy. Simple. Madam Speaker, our interventions to formalize artisanal mining through fair price capital provision of fair price capital, enhanced technology, joint ventures, and value addition will ensure a vibrant formal mining sector, not informal, which is at the heart of our development and growth agenda. Madam Speaker, our buzzword going forward, having achieved debt relief, debt restructuring, not relief, very difficult, mission impossible, having revived the mines, investing in energy, and our buzzword now is economic growth, and more growth. For what, Madam Speaker? For jobs, for business opportunities, for treasury income, so we can look after the sick, the young, the old, the retired, those who live with disabilities. That's the way it is, Madam Speaker. No government retiree is queuing at the Ministry of Finance since we took office. We have cleared, Madam Speaker, a 20-year backlog. We can only do that through economic growth, generating revenue. This is the buzzword, and I ask this House, we must sing this chorus. Economic growth, and more growth for the benefits that I've just articulated. Madam Speaker, we are pleased to note that over 1.1 million farmers have adopted smart agriculture technologies in 2024. We urge more of our farmers, especially small-scale farmers, to adopt smart agriculture practices to enhance productivity and to help mitigate the negative effects of climate change. Madam Speaker, proper management of waste is another important aspect of sustainable development. We are concerned with the littering and indiscriminate disposal of plastics and other waste materials in our communities by citizens, by businesses. This is not acceptable. You walk on the roads, somebody is throwing litter outside of their car window. Why not keep that litter in the car? When you reach home, take it out, throw it in the bin. This is responsibility at the personal level. You clean today, tomorrow they are littering again. Then they complain. Then cholera comes. Then the cost is high. We shouldn't be doing things like that as a nation. Again, local authorities. It starts in the family, in the communities, in the constituencies. Let's take responsibility right there. Right there. I know there are some laws we need to change around plastics because it's damaging our environment, in fact, even destroying livestock. So let us work together, colleagues, in this area. Madam Speaker, in this area of general cleanliness, hygiene, where is our collective sense of responsibility? Where has it gone? Where? Who is going to bring it back? It is us. It's not anybody else, it's us. Responsibility at a personal level. We have bylaws, yes, but as individual citizens, we have a responsibility to keep our environment clean. We must keep Zambia clean, green, safe, and healthy. As I conclude, Madam Chair, Madam Speaker, as I conclude, Madam Speaker, I see the House is in its right frame of mind today. Madam Speaker, I will not say it, but I know the reason. Madam Speaker, I just want the House to know that when and every time we work together, we can achieve more things. And there will be more good things that will be achieved. And shortly, Madam Speaker, this House will be debating issues that will bring more good news for yourselves, but more importantly, for the 20 million citizens. Madam Speaker, as I conclude, as demonstrated above, we have made progress in the application of our national values and principles and strengthened the pillars of our democracy and constitutionalism. Very important. We have pursued good governance and integrity such that citizens now enjoy more freedoms and greater participation in governance and a more conducive or inclusive, if I may say conducive, and inclusive society through our decentralization programs that had stalled for many years, Mr. Speaker, but we have put fuel to the momentum of decentralization, as we have seen from our message today. We want our local people to take decisions that best serves them than someone in Lusaka making decisions about Kashinakash, about Kambombo, about Shangongo, which they know little about. This is the intention of these decisions. Madam Speaker, if I ask many of citizens here who knows Shisekano, very few. But how can you make decisions about those people without knowing the environment and circumstances there? This is why this policy of decentralization is very important. Madam Speaker, let me say issues around decentralization, around environment, around resilience building must take a lot more of our time going forward. We need people at a lower level to contribute to economic activity, no matter how small it is. We need to create jobs at that lowest point, and it will be felt much more than the factories in Lusaka. I wish to say, Madam Speaker, the journey is far, but we're walking, we're resting there. It's not an event, it's a process. We're far from reaching our destination, but we'll get there. The progress we have made is part of the foundation upon which we must build a better Zambia. This is the foundation upon which our peace, unity, and prosperity must be forever anchored on. The journey requires our determination, passion. I say so, Madam Speaker. Passion, from little experience. Passion, mindset, attitude are very important. Courage. Courage, just sheer courage. It's important. Defeat starts with the mind, not the body. It starts with the mind. And that's the Zambia I would like us to see, all of us, across the country. With focus, Madam Speaker, progressively we will get there. We remain vigilant and committed to upholding national values and principles in every aspect of our national affairs. We will continue to promote morality and ethics in our conduct. Morality and ethics in our conduct. We will continue to adapt our nation's capability to respond to adversity, including the effects of climate change. No one needs to be taught what we went through just a few months ago. We haven't recovered yet. And I'm aware one of us was calling for a declaration of a disaster. Madam Speaker, this president maintained the declaration of disaster and emergency. It's still applying. How can we declare a disaster on top of a declaration already? It's there. It's not possible. So please, we are not out of the woods. We need to build resilience. We need to be prepared so that next time, with or without rain, we'll have electricity. with or without rain, we'll have food through irrigation. This is my call. This is our call to the country. Madam Speaker, we need the commitment and positive action from all citizens. Every effort counts. Every effort counts. With hard work, unity, and patriotism, we shall triumph. Living by our national values and principles is a daily obligation. It's not a lecture. It's not a sermon. It's not a presentation either. It's not a president's speech. It's a daily obligation. It is our duty. It is what we should be living by. It is what is supposed to be normal, not the other way around. We must uphold our values and principles. After all, we devised them ourselves. They were not handed over to us by anybody outside of this country. It's us who generated them because we believe in them. Madam Speaker, we must all become patriotic citizens of high values and principles in public and in private. Some of us think we can get away with negative behavior in private. But one of the Zambian languages will tell you that this desk has ears and eyes. Even in privacy, you will be seen if you are not conducting yourselves properly. Leaders must conduct ourselves properly at all times. We're examples to the community. We're examples to young people. Madam Speaker, I follow what people even in this house do in their private lives. As you follow what I do, we must conduct ourselves properly. Madam Speaker, let our national values and principles inspire us to build a future worth of generations to come. Let us all commit to accomplish more and better, not just by quantums, but by value, quality of what we do, Madam Speaker. We can only do this if we love our country, if we love each other, irrespective of ruling party opposition. This is one house here. We're one house. And when we behave and act like that, the country will emulate us and we'll be in a better space. We should be good citizens. We should be willing to sacrifice, Madam Speaker, for the sake of Mother Zambia. A Zambia free of discrimination, gender-based violence, teenage pregnancy, corruption, and cyber crimes, Madam Speaker, and bullying is attainable. Members of Parliament, what we are saying here is attainable if we want to achieve these things. But pretense does not get us anywhere. A prosperous Zambia anchored on our national values and principles is truly achievable. May God bless us all. May God bless our beautiful country, Zambia. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
There we have it. Here is the address that has been made by the President of the Republic of Zambia on the progress made in the application of national values and principles. And in ending his address, the President did say that Zambia, free from discrimination, gender-based violence, teenage pregnancy, corruption, and cyber crimes and bullying is attainable. and that a prosperous Zambia anchored on our national values and principles is achievable. So that is how he ended his address that he made to the House and indeed to the nation.
We have it, that's the Republican president just started by greeting his cabinet and proceeded to greet the opposition. Currently just shaking hands with Mansa Central Member of Parliament, also greeted Kasama Central, that's Mrs. Siwongile Mwamba, and Bwanamkubwa Area Member of Parliament. They are just also waving at various members of Parliament, Dr. Mwanza there, and not forgetting Kanchibia Area Member of Parliament. Just having a little talk. If you do remember, in his speech, the President in his address talked about what Kanchibia is doing in terms of growing maize using CDF to feed the local people there, and a very interesting day it has been, and I'm sure people have got a lot of reactions regarding on what the President has talked about, and also a number of issues have been raised, and some of the issues that we really talked about before Muta.
Yes, indeed, the President is now just shaking hands and greeting the leader of the opposition there, and of course it's a day that does not happen often. It's something that does not happen often. That is Isoka Member of Parliament, Ms. Nakaponda, just exchanging one or two words with the head of a state after delivering that very important address to the House. Isoka Member of Parliament, Ms. Marjorie Nakaponda, and the President just waving at the honourable members of Parliament and greeting some of the members of the front bench. And we just hope that from what he has said, all of us will pick one or two things from the many things that he said. The President there just saying his goodbyes and shaking hands with members of Parliament, ministers, and indeed you can see there that's welcoming one of the newly elected members of Parliament.
Well, interestingly, to see Isoka Area Member of Parliament moving from her seat just to seize that opportunity, and whatever she was explaining to the President, no one knows unless those people that are closer to her. So she had to move from her seat just to get closer and get that opportunity, seize that opportunity, and present some of, maybe it could be some of the challenges in her constituents. Who knows, it could be some of the successes that her constituents has scored this far. And the President currently just chatting with the Minister of Community Development, the Minister of Sport as well, Minister of Tourism. These are some of the cabinet ministers among the many that the President highlighted when he was addressing issues to do with tourism, issues to do with sport, and also Wengwa Area Member of Parliament as well being talked to, and other various members of Parliament. So it's been interesting, Muta, and anytime from now, once the President leaves Parliament, we will resume to the city.
Yes, indeed, we do expect business of the House to continue as soon as the President leaves the chamber today. And there, that noise there is just acknowledging the President, just shaking hands with the newly elected Member of Parliament for Petauke, that's Mr. Simon Banda. So the President has now left the House, of course, escorted up to the entrance by Madam Speaker, and of course the service chiefs there, the Commander for the National Service, of course Zambia Army, Zambia Police, and Zambia Correctional Services. In a short while, we do expect that the Madam Speaker will come back to the House for the continued deliberations in the House. Remember, the House is sitting and it began at 09 hours. So Madam Speaker is back in the House. Business is expected to continue. Remember, this morning at 9 hours, the Vice President just did indicate this. So expect business to continue.
We should also make mention that we'll be able to have reactions from members of Parliament regarding what the President has talked about. For now, we cross over to the floor of the House for the resumption of business.
Order, order. Order, honorable members. Her Honor the Vice President. Order, honorable members. As you know, I'm a lawyer by profession, so I charge for services. So expect a bill after this. Order, let's resume. Order, honorable members. Her Honor the Vice President.
Madam, on behalf of the House, and indeed on my own behalf, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, for the speech that he has. Pardon? Okay. Apologies to the House. I was using a wrong script.
Order, order.
Madam Speaker, I think you have done something different. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that at its rising today, the House adjourns until Tuesday, 4th March 2025.
Order, order. The question is that at its rising today, the House adjourns until Tuesday, 4th March 2025. Any debate? Her Honor the Vice President.
Madam, on behalf of the House, and indeed on my own behalf, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, for the speech he has just delivered on the progress made in the application of national values and principles. Madam Speaker, I have no doubt that the House will agree with me that the President has raised a number of important issues that require serious and careful analysis by all of us. Consequently, I am of the view that the House should rise now so that honorable members have ample time to study and analyze the speech and reflect on the important issues that Mr. President has raised. This will enable honorable members to make meaningful contributions during the debate on the motion of thanks on the President's address starting on Tuesday, 4th March 2025. Madam, this is a procedural motion. I therefore request all honorable members to support it. Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you very much. Any further debate? The Honorable Member for Kanchivia.
Madam Speaker, allow me to put on record my sincere gratitude for the opportunity accorded to me to support the motion moved by Her Honor the Vice President on the occasion, special occasion and special address to Parliament by the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, on the progress made in the application of national values and principles. Madam Speaker, I fully support the motion by Her Honor the Vice President that the House adjourns now to accord honorable members ample time to digest and critically analyze the speech so that when we come back to the House next week, we'll be fully prepared and energized to debate the motion of thanks by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Since this is a procedural motion, Her Honor the Vice President, winding up debate.
Madam Speaker, I am very grateful to the House for its unanimous support to this motion as they await the debates on starting from Tuesday next week. Madam, thank you.
Time to make a decision. I put the question. The question is that at its rising today, the House to adjourn until Tuesday, 4th March 2025. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Her Honor the Vice President, adjournment.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the House do now adjourn.
The question is that the House do now adjourn. Any debate? Any objection? The question is agreed to. The House? Is now adjourned until Tuesday, 4th March 2025. I love you.
There you have it. What a way of ending today's business by the Right Honorable Madam Speaker. Just throwing some kisses there to members of Parliament here.
Yes, indeed. Love is in the air. That was what we saw from Madam Speaker there. And it brings a very nice sense of belonging to the House. You see, the atmosphere today is different, potent, and it shows, you know, members are happy. Probably it's been a good day, a different day, not from the usual business that takes place here at Parliament. Maybe that's what makes this day different and special.
Mind you, we're still in the month of love, February,
yes.
And we did talk about Women's Day coming. I'm sure, Madam Speaker, wishing all the members a happy Women's Day in advance throwing those kisses. Let's get to some of few points that the President talked about. We know that you and Julius Musumari will be able to interact with selected members of Parliament, just to get quick reactions regarding what the President has talked about.
Yes, indeed. Just to get quick reactions there, I'll be joining my colleague outside. But of course, probably before we go outside and we touch on the many issues that have been pointed out, it's important to note that the Vice President, who's the leader of government business in the House, did move a motion of adjournment, and during the debate on that motion, she did indicate that, of course, she started by expressing appreciation to the President for the speech that he had delivered, and she did think and propose that the many serious issues that were contained in the president's address, and that there was need for members of parliament to be given time to go and analyze those issues carefully, so that when deliberations on the motion of thanks begins on 4th March 2025, members will be competent and they'll know what they'll be talking about as they contribute to that motion.
The President's address did begin by him observing or paying tribute to an African icon, Pan-Africanist freedom fighter and Namibia's founding president, Dr. Sam Danyaro Muyoma. We know that our neighboring country, Namibia, lost its founding father, so it's very important as a National Assembly of Zambia paying a tribute to the late founding father of Namibia. And quite a number of issues. Earlier on we did talk about the 6 pillars that the President was talking about: morality, ethics, patriotism, national unity, and on national values and principles. The President did say that these are very essential in guiding our behavior and building our character and promoting social cohesion. And on morality, Muta, maybe.
Yes, on morality, the President did say that to promote a morally upright and ethical nation, the government is indeed addressing the many social ills, which include alcohol and substance abuse. He also did talk about child marriage, teenage pregnancy, GBV, and cyber crimes and cyber bullying. The President did greatly thank traditional leaders, the church, the civil society organization, learning institutions, and media houses for being part of the sensitization programs. And he did say that out of so much happened in 2024, such that 4,720 people were arrested in 2024 for trafficking some of these drugs and alcohol involved in all these things. And just to mention that the government is just not there sitting idly, but addressing these social ills.
When we just started our broadcast earlier in the day, we did share with you some clips from various stakeholders, and one of the clips was to do with teenage pregnancies and early marriages that Chief Chamuka is doing. And the President on that part did say that government has continued addressing child marriage and teenage pregnancies by successfully withdrawing girls from early marriages, an illegal practice that the government condemns, and they keep redemitting the girl child into school after giving birth. And some of the examples we saw, a 42-year lady all the way from Solwezi was just showcasing that she has gone back to school, came together with the head teacher from that particular school in Northwestern Province.
Yes, indeed, very encouraging that even after even getting to 42 years of age, one feels that, okay, there's something that I need to do, and that is education. Very inspiring. We did see her here in the chamber, all clad in a uniform and together in the company of the head teacher. So that was very encouraging. One of the things still on morality, you know, the President talked about gender-based violence. He did say that the cases remain high, and he did point out, sad enough, that these are many lives affected. Many dreams are shattered, and that many voices are silenced because of GBV, and that government was implementing the national gender policy and strengthening enforcement on the Anti-Gender-Based Violence Act. And this is aimed at reducing incidences of the vice, and that government has indeed continued to support the victims of GBV through provision of counseling services, legal aid, and safe spaces.
Well, very interesting. We know that our colleague Julius Msumali is on hand just to interact with various stakeholders and members of parliament, just to get quick reactions regarding what the President talked about. One of the messages that really touched me was the issue to do with national symbols, the coat of arms, the national anthem, the seals. These are things that really need to be proud of. For now, we cross over to our colleague downstairs, who is ready on hand to interact with various stakeholders regarding today's address. The message that really touched me was the issue to do with national symbols, the national anthem, the seals. These are things that really need to
statement on the progress made in the application of national values and principles has been made, and the President has since exited the National Assembly of Zambia to his residence. But just before that, we need to get a few reactions, and joining me, the first guest that I have on this platform today is the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, and this is Madam Patricia Scotland, and I just want to have an interaction with her actions that she has to give to us on how the statement has been. Welcome to Parliament Television and all our platforms. Thank you. The President has just finished addressing the National Assembly on the progress made in the application of national values and principles. I'd like to get a reaction from you on the general overview of the statement by the President.
Well, firstly, I think it's a great privilege and pleasure to be here to listen to this special address. People in Zambia for all the time since I became Secretary General in 2016. So it was very good to hear the warmth with which the President's statement was greeted by all the House, particularly in relation to the devolution through the different areas. I think this is a real opportunity for everyone to come together. I particularly liked the way the Speaker closed, because and that was a very and fitting conclusion. Very important that the President was saying one Zambia, one nation, that there is no division, whether you are government or opposition. Everybody should be coming together to deliver for the people of Zambia. And that, I think, was a very good, strong message. Are facing some incredible challenges. The drought last year was absolutely devastating, but Zambia has come through it. There's much more to do, and I think we look forward to seeing all of the promises implemented.
Of the rule and law in the Republic of Zambia in terms of governance from the time the UPND government formed government. What would you say? What is your comment on the application of the rule and law in terms of good governance?
Well, I think good governance is fundamental. I think the President made it clear that there was much more to do. He described it as a journey, and they are on this journey together, and I would agree with him. And I will absolutely commit, although this is my last month as General, the Commonwealth is totally committed to the rule of law, walk with Zambia and Zambians every step of the way to try and make sure that this good beginning is not just a good beginning, but it's a really good journey. All of us, government, opposition, civil society, churches, people, foundations, and the international with you and with Zambia. One Zambia, one nation.
I'd like to thank you for making an appearance on this interview.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was Madam Patricia Scotland with giving us a reaction to the statement by the President on the occasion of the address to the House on the application of national values and principles. And joining me just about now is a Congo Member of Parliament, Honorable Mr. Mayungo Smoshi. Welcome to this short interview.
Thank you so much for having me.
The President has just concluded addressing the nation. What is your take-home message in the address? You can pick one of the pillars that he addressed to. Maybe we start with vandalism, or maybe participation, patriotism, sustainable development, and social justice, application of rule and law. Maybe just pick one pillar as a home take message to the people of Congo.
Yeah, thank you so much. Maybe just quickly before I do that, I just want to say that I think the President has given us a very good speech, which is uplifting, and I think we have seen that actually from the time that the UPND administration took over office, when we talk about the progress made in the application of national values and principles, I think we have seen that actually we are now reaching a level where every everything is visible, coming all together. The progress is indeed there. And I want to speak to the issue of patriotism and the national unity. And for me, I think the principles, these values and the principles that we have are very important in as far as national development is concerned, because that is why we elect leaders. And I think today the president has really made it, has shown the country that he is walking the talk together with his administration. So talking about national unity, I think you have seen how the president has brought this country together, not only in terms of talking, but in actualizing actually that which is about national unity. In terms of resource allocation, he spoke about the CDF and how the CDF has actually changed this country. It has changed this country in terms of development. Today, if you go to Skongo, for example, Skongo is no longer the same. You find a radio station in Skongo. You find classroom blocks done. Today, no one is sitting on the floor in Skongo. We've done so many things in Skongo within just a space of 3 years, and this is all because of this resource allocation, which was not given equitably before. But today, every constituency receiving this money, and consistently from the time that the UPND administration took over office. The other issue, of course, in terms of national unity, is the issue of ceremonies. You've seen how the president has used our national
to go and prepare for the debate as you come back on Tuesday, so that I think you have a lot to say. I will leave that for you to say it on the floor of the House.
No, thank you so much. We're looking forward to the debate on the floor of the House next week, and I think it's going to be very nice because I think everyone is happy. Thank you so much.
Skongo Member of Parliament, Mr. Mayungo Smoshi, giving us his reaction to the address by the President. And joining me now is Honorable Jeffrey Mulebwa, Kafulafuta Member of Parliament. Honorable Mulebwa, the President has just addressed the House. What is your take, the message? Maybe let's concentrate on the issue of the devolution of services to the local authorities. What is your take on that pillar that the President indicated?
Well, I must say, first of all, that the speech was holistic, it was brilliant. And my take on that is this has been long overdue. This also goes to show that the President is looking for us MP to deliver and never to have an excuse as to why we cannot deliver. Because this definitely is going to be a game changer, to be sitting in the council, ensure that the right decisions are made and jobs are done in time and so on. So I think that's a very positive decision. Yeah.
Thank you so much for appearing on this interview, Honorable.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
All right, Honorable Jeffrey Mulebwa there, Kafulafuta Member of Parliament, also giving us his insights to the address by the President. And joining me just about now is Mufumbwe Member of Parliament, Mr. Elliot Kamondo. Honorable Kamondo, I would just ask you to stick to one pillar with regards to delayed developmental provision with regards to CDF, and the President did hint that there are provisions, or rather indication that there could be pieces of legislation that need to be put in place in case of delay in delivering development, and he called it economic sabotage. What is your take on this?
I think for me, first of all, I would like to thank the President actually for this move that he has taken. The speech was so good, and we are delighted that he came and spoke on certain challenges that we are facing. Mufumbwe is not an exceptional. In terms of the delays in the implementing of CDF, I think that is one of the challenges that we are facing. I think if we can put in some more salt and ingredients to CDF, we can do better. We have had actually a situation whereby certain projects are taking too long actually for them to be finished. I think that is the starting point. Then the other thing that I want to talk about, which has excited me more, is about constitution and the constitution. We want to amend the constitution, and that one actually we attach it to CDF. Well, we appreciate actually that the CDF actually is a game changer. That is actually very well, and we appreciate so much. But we take also into consideration that places like Mufumbwe and the Northwestern at large, we have actually most of the constituencies, they are so big, they are so vast. to an extent that even when the CDF is doing something, but you see that we still need to do more. As we are still constructing actually schools, as we are still constructing rural health facilities, and that indicates that we are still very much behind. So I'm encouraging my fellow members of parliament. We are the lawmakers, and this the president has given us that we should actually be in the forefront to make sure that we amend the constitution so that we allow the delimitation. And the delimitation will come with more constituencies, and the more constituencies will come with more CDF. I think that is actually very good for us, especially rural MPs like myself. I'm delighted for that.
I can see you geared for Tuesday, so I'll leave you for that so that you debate on when we get to the debate.
The people of Mufumbwe are excited because indeed we need more constituencies. In fact, Mufumbwe, maybe 3. That is what I can say. I'm happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable. Former Member of Parliament, Mr. Elliot Kamondo, giving us his insight, and just joining me about now is Mr. Joe Chiuye, Ron Member of Parliament. Welcome to the short interview.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
The President has just delivered a speech and has anchored on various pillars. Maybe we pick on one pillar, which is on the provision of education, and we saw a report where one 42-year-old, as an example, has returned to school. How is this program taking place in Ron?
Thank you very much. I want to begin by appreciating the President for fulfilling the constitutional requirement for coming to address the nation on this very, very important subject. Yes, the UPND government has got this pillar of giving free education. And this free education, people should take it up with both hands. In my constituents, what we have begun to do for us to fulfill this obligation is to create more learning spaces by constructing more classroom blocks, by constructing more teachers blocks, so that even when we are getting these people from the compound to come and join in the school, they should be able to find the school spaces. We have also ensured that we fulfill the presidential directive of making and giving out suppliers to come up with more desks in the schools. It is indeed a very, very good move, because they say education is the best equalizer, and without education this nation can go anywhere. And I want to emphasize and call upon the people of Ron constituency that this is a blank check that the President has given us for all those that wants to go back to school. Please seize this opportunity and get back to school. Once you go back to school, regardless of the age, school never ends, learning never ends. Let's go back to school and make sure that we contribute positively to the growth of the nation.
But we would like to thank you for coming through.
Thank you very much.
All right. Ron Member of Parliament, Mr. Joe Chiuye, also giving us his insights on the achievements or the statement by the President. And just joining me about now is Chama South Member of Parliament, Mr. Davison Mungandu. Welcome to this short interview.
Always a pleasure.
Take a message to the House.
Issues, among them he talked about leadership ethics, things that we are supposed to be doing as leaders. As leaders, we are there to represent the people, take the interest of the people, make the lives of our people better, as opposed looking at our own personal interest. Indeed, this is what we are following in Chama South. The President also indicated the vision of 1.6 to represented to mention equipment. Going into implement, we are going to make sure full Munyukwa Road is done, Chasato Chick is done, we will ensure that already we have started using CDF. We have fenced Mapamba, we are fencing Chimpamba, we are fencing Pondo, we are fencing Chikwa, we are fencing Chifunda. All this to be done will only be achieved if we continue supporting our President, President Hakainde Hichilema. Continuation of President Hakainde Hichilema will simply mean consummation of the development in our area. So it is against this background that last week we endorsed his candidature for 2026. We want to tell the people, personally want to tell the people of entire Chama, people of Chama South, that if we are to fence all the areas, we finish construction of roads. This year you are going to see roads being constructed. That can only be achieved or attained if President Hakainde Hichilema continues in the office. So we want to urge the people of Chama, people of Eastern Province, and the people of this nation that this vision that President Hakainde Hichilema carries is a vision that we need to embrace. Yes, we had difficulties. People make noise. No, the country has been downgraded. Why has the country been downgraded in terms of what they were talking about? We want to explain to them. This is historical. We left huge debt by us as Patriotic Front. Debt that the GDP of this country, all the incomes put together, we start paying back, would take 80 years to pay. This is the reason, not that what is being done is what has caused the problem. You know that we had a serious drought, which God has answered this year. We have a bumper harvest, and no one has died in this country. So for us, we are with President Hakainde Hichilema. That was mouth-watering, all-encompassing, and indeed inspiring speech.
Honorable Mungando, I'd like to thank you for making this appearance. I'll see you geared for the next debate when policy debate resumes on Tuesday. I'd like to thank you for making appearance on our platform. Always
a pleasure. People of Chama South, get prepared for the development that you need. Roads will be attended to. Chikwa, as I've said, Chikwa, Tasato will be done. Chifunda, Mnyukwa will be done. All the bridges in between, the President has promised, and the ministers have been asked. Everything will be put in place. Let's work together. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Chama South Member of Parliament Davidson Mungando also giving us his insights with regard to the address by the President on the progress made in the application of national values and principles. Just joining me now is Mtalifeli Lesmate, who will take on other members of our Parliament to give us insights on this matter that we are discussing.
Hello, Julius. It's very nice to be with you this afternoon, and we just hope that we do have many expectations and reactions coming in from people. So this is Parliament TV, and you've been, of course, listening into the reactions by many members of Parliament. So right now, I'll soon be joined by the leader of opposition in the House, and he is here to just share with us the many reactions that he has to say with us.
Good afternoon. It's afternoon or morning?
It's afternoon, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. First and foremost, I just want to state that the President's speech has given hope for Zambians, and in that I'll pick issues to do with morals, and that morals first must begin with us in our houses, in our homes, and I also pick the issues to do with the keep Zambia clean. I think it's high time as a country we need to move to just change our mindset, especially throwing litters around, and at the same time you have seen there are a lot of floods in Lusaka, and this might emanate into having waterborne diseases that might affect us. So basically, number one, I think to me as a lawmaker, we have the laws. I only appeal to the government that we have the laws under the Nuisance Act. I think we need to reinforce and tighten them out. And I wonder, when you travel out, we switch to the cleanliness and environment that we have found there. And also the other thing that I would pick is the issue of encouraging us members to talk about with regards to the issues of delimitation. I hope that will be coming, and which every well-meaning member of Parliament has to support it, because some of the constituencies are bigger, and especially one of them is like my finger. So basically, in the whole holistic approach, this is a very progressive speech that has done the President. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was a reaction from Honorable Chavinga, who's the leader of opposition in the House, just giving us what he thought about today's very important address, 28th February 2025. That is where the President indeed came to the House just to address the nation, to give an address on the progress made in the application of national values and principles. So soon enough, I'll be joined by a student, a learner from Solwezi, who the President did talk about in his address. So let me welcome Madam Dorothy Kamanisha from Solwezi. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam.
What do you think, what can you say about the free education policy? How does it feel?
Free education isuma poningirando kwe bati ninchita benefit fingi mlando kwe bati abana bandu balilekera okusambirira umbi second born alilekera okusambirira sape ero ali mu grade 11 mlando wa free education alibwera ku school again mlando wa free education neno inaliambe school so that at least ndishibeko kuberenga ndishibeko ifo ningeshibe fingi kuberenga bible fingi poninga sambira fona asanga muri free education fingi.
So kutumwalanda shani yabaleka school kutumwabira ko shani ati bakapitirishe fifu fomwa kapita mo kutumwalanda ko shani na bali abaleka school.
Okay, abaleka school foninga bakosesha fya kwe bati ine mbuka nasambira kwa ndini nchula ngana lisambirire this time ngana likala ko bwino so nacho ndalenga timbokere ku school ko ati at least nsambirire njikale ko bwino kuli bali abaleka ama school na bende basenkaje ko bati bengamba pya ama school cause ni free education we pay nothing. Pia mukusambirira ama uniforms mpoye pano head balanchitira pia bengi po bambe ama school kulera wali mu form 1 kulera wali mu grade 9 since opo yambira ine free education abana maya bagwera ku school bengi na bashitata pia bagwera ku school bengi tutera ba president ko batwatpera ku free education tukwata ko chance yakwa ngagwera ku school ko ngate free education era tupole pona ku school ifo ngana twika tule chula pi emkwaye.
All right, so thank you very much, dear viewers. That was indeed the 42-year-old student all the way from Solwezi. That's Ms. Dorothy Kamanisha, just sharing with us her experience after going back to school and encouraging people that there is this free education policy. Everyone has to take advantage of that free education policy. And next to give a reaction is Mr. Amos Nyirenda, New Congress Party Vice President. So he's here and he's just give us some reactions of what he takes on this very important address that was delivered today. Good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you so much. I was very impressed with the way the President addressed the nation, because he spoke about so many issues which affect the lives of the ordinary Zambians. Now I want to make comment especially on the behavior of members of parliament from the UPND, because when they find that there is a bill which is not in their favor, they walk out. That is tantamount to abdication of duty and you know the miscarriage of trust that the members of parliament have been given, so that they represent their constituencies. So if the President appoints these people to perform their duties, they are just like bullfighters. They should not shy away from issues which they are supposed to address, because if they don't address these issues, then it is a problem. Hunger will not end, disease will not end. These are the issues which some opposition want addressed. So I urge all the members of parliament to form a unity, because this is our country. What divides us is the political parties that we come from. But otherwise, all in all, what we need is to build the nation so that we are all comfortable.
Thank you very much, sir, for just giving us a reaction on that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so there we have it, dear viewers. We were just getting reactions from many people who came to Parliament this afternoon just to listen into that speech and also give reactions later on. We've had the leader of opposition who gave a earlier on, and he talked about issues to do with patriotism, littering of the country. What benefit does it have to us? People are on their vehicles throwing litter outside the vehicles. In the end, there are diseases that come up. Who is to blame? Is it yourselves or the government? So those are some of the reactions that we had earlier on today. And right now I'm joined again by my colleague, and we are here together. We're going to give you just a summary of the business that did take place on the floor of the House in relation to of course, the speech that was delivered by His Excellency the President.
Right, Muta, thank you so much. You know that it was a pride to, of course, it's one of those good moments when you receive the head of state, and he has presented his statement on the progress made in the application of national values and principles, which is a constitutional provision actually, and today is an important day. And of course, the day began by the President inviting the invited guests and made the House to pay respect to the late Namibian president, the first president, and of course a freedom fighter, and the first president of Namibia, that is His Excellency Samu Nujoma. And after that, of course, the president took time to welcome the three members of parliament who joined the House in the past three by-elections in Kawampa, Pambashe, and Petaoke Central. And of course, he did send a strong message with regards to vandalism of public and of course private property in the country, and also did hint send a message of a strong message with regards to land encroachment as well.
Yes, indeed. And another thing that the president did talk about was unity. And he did talk about the symbols that the country has. We're talking about the national anthem. We're talking about the motto. We're talking about, the flag, all those symbols that the country has. The national anthem, that is the song for the nation. And his message was basically saying, when we sing that, that is a song that unites us. We should sing it with pride because we are Zambians. This is the Zambia that belongs to us, no one else. Only us are going to make Zambia what we want it to be. So those are some of the things that the president did talk about. But I remember one of the issues that he talked about really was gender-based violence, saying issues of the number of gender-based violence cases is rising, saying that, with that vice being high, you find that voices are silenced. We find that lives are affected. We find that dreams are shattered. Is that the country that we need? No. So we have to do something so that these cases of gender-based violence come down. At the moment, they are high, and voices get shattered in the end. Dreams get shattered.
Yes, indeed, Mota. Of course, the president also did highlight with regards to patriotism, volunteerism, spirit. He also did highlight on the culture of borrowing from this public borrowing, especially from the Citizens Economic Commission, that people have a tendency of going to borrow from this commission with an intention, deliberate intention of not wanting to pay back, and that the monies and the fund, this will not grow, and it will inhibit other people from accessing such a provision. With regards to volunteerism or spirit, the president also paid tribute to the unsung heroes in this area who talked about teachers, health workers, religious leaders, ward development committees, and constituency development committees who volunteer to do these services, and of course paid also tribute to sportsmen and women. So he did also call on Zambians to continue promoting the consumption of local products and services so that we promote the economic growth. So those are some of the pillars or contained in the president's address to the House this morning and part of the afternoon.
Yes, indeed. What I remember is local is laka. Let us consume local products.
And also
Holiday,
Zambia Kuchalo.
local.
And Zambia
Zambia
Kuchalo.
Zambia to the world. That was when he's talking about sports. So he's saying that there's so much that is happening, and those are the things that should give us pride. Those are the things that should give us pride to say we as Zambians, we're talking about holiday, Yamuloko. Zambia is rich in terms of natural resources. Right. Tourism is, so much can happen in the tourism sector. So why not take a holiday am local. We are Zambians, and this is our country. Let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy everything in Zambia. I think that was some of the many issues.
Of course, our summary is not conclusive, Muta, but one take-home pay also message the President did hint on is on patriotism with regards to payment of taxes. Say good citizens who always pay taxes because these are the taxes that provide revenue for public service delivery, and did of course did highlight that. Like I said, our summary is not a conclusive, but of course on our platform we remain to rebroadcast, and this is coming to you on our platforms on radio. We'll have to rebroadcast the entire speech, and then of course we'll have a rebroadcast on our television set. This is a permanent feature on our social media platforms. If you missed it, you can access our Facebook page as well as our National Assembly YouTube channel for you to just listen to that speech in the comfort of your quietness, so that you bisect it and digest it. And of course, honor the Vice President, Muta, and ask the House to seek the indulgence of the House, that the House to adjourn, so that members of Parliament go and study the speech, so that they come with an informed position when debate opens, and that was supported by Kachibia Member of Parliament, Mr. Sande Chanda.
Yes, indeed, that was supported by Kanchibia Member of Parliament, Mr. Sande Chanda. So that motion of thanks, debate on the motion of thanks will commence on Tuesday, 4th March 2024. So that indeed marks the end of today. It's a day that started at 09 hours when Madam Speaker's delegation went in the House, and then later on we had the President coming in, addressing the nation, the motion that was moved by the Vice President, and later the House adjourning. So that is the day that was at Parliament, and from here, Parliament TV production crew, we can only say thank you very much from all of us here. And of course, one of the things that we never forget is to thank you, our dear viewers. I mean, without you, Parliament TV would be nothing. So a very, very, very big thank you to all of you who've kept us company, who've been watching Parliament TV. It's always our hope that you continue watching the station that is dedicated to bringing Parliament closer to you. We say our goodbyes now?
Yes, so on continuity was Poset Ndovi and Mutalifelile Smata in the chamber, Julius Musmali from the Reactions Point. On sign language, we had Chola Kakaoma, and of course on behalf of the entire production team on both television and radio and our social media platforms, we would like to thank you and say bye-bye to you. See you next week on Monday.
Thank you very much.
Continue to